This week in the news, epic layoffs, Rockstar hit with fines, Crimson Desert holds strong, and more on this week's Old Man Rages at the News. Before we get into the news, hit the like and subscribe buttons if you enjoy the content. We're kicking off this week with Tim 2 Cent Sweeney laying off 1,000 employees from his company. Why the layoffs? Well, it's to quote, save money. This, alongside other cost savings, is an attempt at putting them in a more stable place. But maybe, Tim, just ask 10 cent next time. They could probably give you $1 or $2 if you had enough AI. You never know. Now, Epic also claims that the layoffs are not related to AI. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if in the near future there are leaked emails about replacing employees with AI, especially with how Timmy 2 Cents handles things. But anyways, I digress. Since they didn't punch themselves hard enough, Epic is now removing 2 modes from Fortnite. The first 2 modes to disappear will be Ballistic and Festive Battle Stage. Both of them will be unavailable after the 16th of April. Now, those aren't the only modes to disappear. Rocket Racing will also be gone around October 2026. Now, modders will be able to make their own versions of Rocket Racing using Fortnite's creation tools. But let's be real here. This is a poor attempt at passing responsibility on to someone else. In other news, Square is also shooting themselves in the foot because they plan to integrate Gemini into Dragon Quest X. Oh boy. The AI will have a chat function with a generated voice and it can hold a conversation. It will also be able to analyze screen info and it will annoy you like the pixie whenever you defeat a strong enemy or get a rare item. The worst part is that Takashi Anzai, the head of development and operations for the game, says the new players will become your own partner, so that they do not have to be lonely and not have to be lonely, where they can play. Alright, this sounds like a bad translation for sure, but anyway, first off, let's look into what this implies. Imagine getting parasocial with AI. Yeah, now question your sanity. Then again, looking at what people do, there is that one idiot that managed to marry a pizza. Yes, that happened. You can look it up if you want. And yep, something was off with the translation. And it was mainly the wording, not the meaning. Looking around further, it seems VGC has a translation for his quote where he stated, "New players won't feel lonely wondering where to start playing. It will become their own personal companion." Yeah, they're treating this as a companion. We are 100% confirmed cooked if the higher-ups think AI can be used as a companion. Square, what are you doing? I've said it before and I'll say it again. Just ask your ethics department that most likely puts a large drain on your budget and just let the devs go to town. It seems common sense is not so common with Square Enix. And as the total opposite to the last story, Capcom confirmed that they will not be implementing generative AI into their games. In the Q&A they held, they were asked about generative AI and Capcom responded that it will not implement material created with generative AI in their games. They also plan on entering the mobile market by the looks of things. Probably not worth it, but they might have something in mind, who knows. Steam is back on the menu this week. Now, remember the stupid lawsuit that's happening over on the UK side of things? Well, this is the claim if you need a refresher. And yeah, if you don't want to support it, you can finally opt out of it. Now, even Reddit started making sense with this one person saying, "The fact that I have to give them my personal information to opt out is a disgrace. Never opted in the first place. Maybe if I have to hand out my information to get out of something, then you shouldn't be using it in the first place." I still remember the day where you were told to never hand out any information about yourself on the internet. And oh boy, what a good time that was. But on to another episode of Valve Does Nothing and Wins. They hit another all-time peak for Steam users. Their new all-time peak happened around the 22nd of March and it hit 42.3 million players. Bet Timmy 2 Cents is happy with the news. And in another episode I like to call What the fuck am I reading? This time we have GameSpot writing, and I quote, "One of Resident Evil's fundamental joys is watching beautiful men get hurt." First off, the bias is unreal. Second off, Jenkins, get my eye cleaning bleach. I'll need it after this one. And in case you think I'm blowing this out of proportions, just think about the shitstorm this would create if it was the opposite gender. Yeah, now let's be clear here. This is another case of Tumblr level fanfics being written by journalists and posting this as an article. I wish I was kidding, but here's how the first bit reads. Leon Kennedy is tied up. The henchman of cult leader Osmond Sadler have injected him with Las Plagas, an ancient zombifying parasite. His hands are cuffed to a chain, at the other end of which is Kennedy's sometimes ally, Louis Serra. They work together to get free. There's a rhythm between them as they pull on the chain. Their muscles are taut. They trade grunts like drum beats. For now, their bodies are triumphant. If I go any further, I think I'll be cursed by something that crawled out of an ancient Egyptian tomb. It also ends with, one of the series' sincere pleasures is watching beautiful people, but especially beautiful men, get hurt. I know, because we still didn't have enough time to escape the title of the article now, did we? Oh, they actually use horny in the article. I was joking on the Tumblr fanfic bit, but the more I skim through this, the more I believe I can predict the future here. Leave it to horror fans to turn something scary into something sexual. Wait, I just realized they wrote down in Resident Evil 4, the camera swings with Leon's hips and zooms forward with his gun. Like, what the fuck? Why is this a detail? Even the last segment makes me believe the writer has a gore fetish and is willing to display it publicly. Also, to answer the question of what could be sexier than that, the author proposed, it's simple. Anything that's not written by you and single-minded people, that's what. Hell, I'm pretty sure if you put a stick figure side by side with this article, the stick figure will be sexier. Brother, what did I read? And now, let's clear our palates with something that's funny. Somehow, Call of Duty Modern Warfare has more players on Steam than the past few Call of Duty games combined. Now, what attributed to that? Well, the game got a 90% discount during the spring sale, making it only $5.99. This led it to achieve a new all-time peak of 61,667 players, while the modern Call of Duty games only have around 40,000. Talk about funny. And now for a colossal fuck up. Rockstar Games got hit with government fines for not paying minimum wage. In December, UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer investigated allegations of union busting, and on the 19th of March, His Majesty's Revenue and Customs, HMRC for short, posted a list where 389 employers in the UK weren't paying minimum wage. And according to the list, 60,000 workers were underpaid and denied over £3.7 million in wages. It's also unclear how much Rockstar has been fined, but a total of 12.6 million euros in penalties were issued for the 389 employers at various companies. Additionally to that, a GTA 6 developer accidentally leaked a hyper-realistic feature he worked on. Spoilers, it's the shattering of glass. So, it started out with this post where on LinkedIn an employee worked on the glass system and other stuff for the game, and later on was identified to be this part of the trailer. The reason why it's believed to be accidental is because the developer removed the details on what he was working on from his LinkedIn, basically soft confirming that Rockstar spent a decade perfecting glass breaking. Ubisoft could never. And now, how to piss off your audience. Tekken 8's update got heavily disliked for disrespecting the fanbase. Now, before we go any further into this, I have no horse in this race, so I can't comment. But this is the gamer, so take everything with a grain of salt. The reason why it got so many negative reviews is because during Season 2, too many characters were buffed offensively with limited defensive buffs, making the game feel like an all-out assault instead of relying on technical battles. This only became worse with the release of Season 3 because, well, they did the same. Since the update, Tekken 8 has received only 104 positive reviews and 770 negative reviews on Steam, resulting in it being in the mostly negative section. They also made a statement on 25th of March on their website where they will be focusing on overall balance and a battle experience where offense and defense are balanced around the heat system. Alright, I have no fucking idea what the heat system is, so I figured, why not grab the demo of the game and see what it is, or as it's called, heat mode. And yeah, it looks like it enables an aggressive playstyle. Oh boy. Bottom line, it still remains to be seen if people will like the changes that will come with Season 3, or this will be another middle finger to the Tekken 8 player base. Only time will tell. Moving on. PlayStation is closing Dark Outlaw Games, a studio formed last year by former Call of Duty lead Jason Blundell. If that's how you pronounce it, that is. I don't know. Not only that, but they're also making additional cuts to the mobile development, resulting in another 50 people being laid off. That's not the only thing Sony did, because they also decided to have their dynamic pricing appear for their US clients as well. Yeah, because dynamic pricing is always good for the customer, right? Now, Cheap Ass Gamer on X posted that people in North America's PSN store have a deal for Astrobot for $39.59, while he got a deal for $26.99. That's $13 and a bit over of a discrepancy. If somebody manages to defend dynamic pricing, they're either a paid shill or the biggest fucking moron on this planet. Now, I wish that was it, but nope. They're also doing more price hikes on their consoles. Shocking, I know. These are the prices, and honestly, at this point, I'm glad that I'm not a Sony fanboy or play on a PlayStation, because this is absolutely ass. This goes into effect as of the 2nd of April, 2026, but Reddit still cooked this price hike. Imagine paying $650 for a 6-year-old console with outdated hardware. Like, say what you want about Reddit, but there is gold in there sometimes. In other news, Marathon messed up its endgame raid. Good job, Bungie. Clearly locking your endgame behind a specific time slot is the way to save your game. And yes, the game chooses when you play the mode, not the other way around. Now, to be more specific, the way it works is that it will start on Thursday, 10 AM Pacific time, and close on Sunday, 10 AM Pacific time. After which, it will rotate to ranked mode. Why the fuck isn't ranked just a separate queue altogether? What's the point in all of this? Well, at the very least, Shroud liked the mode, even though it might be too difficult for casual players. Oh well. Now, on the other side of things, the sales for the game are all but confirmed at this point. LNA Analytics head of marketing Reese Elliott came out with this long-ass tweet, but the TLDR is the game sold a combined total of 1.2 million copies. 70% from Steam, 19% from PS5, and 11% from Xbox. He did also report that there are 478,000 daily active users after its first Sunday, then averaged around 380,000 daily active users. Here's hoping for the remainder of the player base that the game gets good. And in other news, Warhorse Studios replaced one of their employees with AI. The slopification of their games has begun, it seems. Now, I have to remind people, do not harass anyone for this. I get that this is bad, but throwing metaphorical stones at someone won't fix the issue. The fired employee was Max H, and he made a post on the Kingdom Come subreddit talking about how he worked as a Czech-to-English editor, and on the 27th of March, he was invited to a meeting and told that, and I quote, in an effort to, quote, make the company more effective and, quote, save finances, as of next month, my position at the company would become, quote, obsolete in favor of using AI for all translations going forward. Yeah, with how we saw the Japanese translation earlier in the video go, I don't think that was a great plan. Side note, one of the mods confirmed that OP worked for 3 years and 9 months at Warhorse. Oh boy. Moving on, and by the looks of things, Ubisoft doesn't have any forward thinking. The reason why I say that is because their cost-cutting measures could put their games at risk. Now, remember the layoffs that happened on the 19th of March? Yeah, that's causing issues cause the next mainline Ghost Recon game, codename OVR, is considered a crucial release for Ubisoft's upcoming fiscal year, alongside the Black Flag remake. The problem stems from OVR already being scaled back according to insider gaming sources, since the people at Red Storm Studio were working on OVR. Now, the people there are still working until the 18th of May due to the WARN Act, but some employees were asked to return to their projects. Some of the current and former employees even stated that Ubisoft seems to look at a studio, how much it costs, and just shutting it down without any foresight into what could happen. What a great move from Ubislop. Moving on, one thing that I missed last week, and I would like to cover this week, is Crimson Desert's response to the AI controversy. They stated that some of the 2D visual props were created using generative AI tools to help them rapidly explore the tone and atmosphere in early phase production, even though they were planning on replacing it. They even stated that some of those assets were unintentionally included in the final release, and they will conduct a comprehensive audit of all in-game assets and replace them. Now, on to the good news. The game managed to reach 3 million copies sold worldwide. Not only that, but as IGN pointed out, the investors of Pearl Abyss are having a whoopsie moment because their stocks have increased. You can see around the 24th of March is when they realized the studio was worth it and had a 36% surge in stocks. Mind you, IGN also gave the game a 6 and is bending over backwards to justify why they need to give it a 6. Well, they gave Dragon Age Veilguard a 9. Make of that what you will. And to wrap this week up, Nvidia's CEO admits he doesn't love AI slop himself, even though he revealed DLSS 5. Oh boy. Now, this came from the Lex Friedman podcast, and he argued that artists determine the geometry and, quote, we are completely truthful to the geometry. Yeah, cause sure as shit that's what we saw in the previews, right? The only thing that helped in that preview was Starfield, and that's a low bar to start with. Anyways, The delusions will continue next week on Old Man Rages at the News. See ya then.